Coming up, remembering Hurricane Sandy 4 years later. We'll take a look at what the town has done to prepare for future storms. Fort Lee police are cracking down on drivers who don't stop for pedestrians in crosswalks. Residents, teachers, police, and even a well-known athlete come out in support of a 12-year-old girl battling leukemia. And a special Halloween celebration for our four-legged friends in Fort Lee. Hi, I'm Linda McHugh. Welcome to our November show. The Fort Lee Police Department is stepping up enforcement of traffic laws and ticketing motorists who fail to stop for pedestrians in crosswalks. So far in 2016, 50 people have been hit by cars in Fort Lee, with one fatality. Deputy Chief Timothy Ford said the department is desperate to try to find a solution to correct this problem.
This is Anderson, this is Stillwell, and we're going to be targeting this crosswalk here. One of the solutions we found is the Cops in the Crosswalk program, which we're doing today. One of my officers is dressed in civilian attire, and when she walks out into the crosswalk, if the motorists don't stop for her, the other 4 officers are pulling those cars over and issuing summonses.
These decoy operations are funded by a $16,000 state grant awarded by the New Jersey Division of Highway Traffic Safety.
There you go, with that woman right there. They gave her a break. 2 cars right across. That's what we're looking for. When a pedestrian steps into a crosswalk, the law says you have to stop for them. Used to be that you had to yield, but now you have to stop and let that pedestrian cross the street.
If you fail to stop for a pedestrian in a marked crosswalk in New Jersey, you'll not only get 2 points on your license, but you'll be slapped with a $254 fine, 100 of which is used to help fund pedestrian safety and education programs throughout the state.
When we start doing it early in the year, everybody basically doesn't stop for the pedestrian. And as the year goes on, we get compliance. And that's our goal. We want people to stop for the pedestrian in the crosswalk. We don't want to issue tickets. We want people to know that we are serious about protecting our pedestrians.
Hurricane Sandy struck with a vengeance on October 29, 2012, and wreaked havoc across much of the East Coast. The storm was one of the deadliest hurricanes in U.S. history, but it taught us a lot about how to deal with natural disasters. Once Fort Lee recovered from the storm, town officials put an action plan in place to learn and implement lessons in preparedness, response, and resilience. To mark the 4th anniversary of the storm, we talked to town officials to find out what Fort Lee has done to help better prepare for future disasters.
I feel very comfortable, that we are prepared. Obviously, a storm of Sandy, I don't know if you can ever be totally prepared, but I feel that we're in a good place right now, that we can provide the services, maintain safety, maintain security, and that's really the goal of the borough.
One of the lessons we learned is fuel, that we had to make sure we had enough fuel for the emergency vehicles in town. So we learned by reaching out to gas stations, if we do run out of fuel, would they let us buy their fuel for our emergency vehicle? And they said no problem. We've
had generators both at the recreation center and the community center, but we've also recognized their importance. We've put them at the senior center, DPW, police department, and the borough hall. So in the event of a catastrophe such as Sandy, our services are still available.
One of the biggest things that we do ask in the event of emergency, that you be self-sufficient for at least 3 days.
The library, community center, and senior center are all designated heating and cooling stations. After Sandy, a shower was installed at the recreation center, so that building is now considered an official shelter. Residents can also use the community center to charge their cell phones to stay in touch with family and friends during an emergency.
There's a lot more information that we're putting out. There's also a special needs registry that we encourage those residents who have special needs, whether it be wheelchair bound or housebound, to really register on that list.
Recognizing the importance to get the word out. We have 1630 AM, which is our emergency radio system. It will go town-wide. We also have a toll-free number, 1-844-FORT-LEE.
A radio with a hand crank that's not reliant on batteries is, again, beneficial too. The other thing that is very beneficial to residents to sign up is for NIXL program. They'll receive text messages on whether it be traffic and or emergency situations. Our office actually hands out emergency preparedness guides. It covers all the different events that could possibly happen: hurricane, tornado, flooding.
I think they can honestly feel safe here. I think between the mayor and the mayor councilman, I think we're on top of it. I think all parties, the police, OEM, DBW, we all work as a team, and I think we'll be fine here.
We're all hands on deck, and you know, everyone is available to ensure that the services we have are out there, and we think it's important that the residents know that.
Back in January, 12-year-old Brianna Lopez was diagnosed with leukemia. Since that time, several organizations in town have held fundraisers to help defray some of the costs associated with Brianna's 9-month battle. The most recent was a 5K race held at the Church of Madonna and organized by Fort Lee resident Max Almenis.
Brianna Lopez was diagnosed with AML leukemia 9 months ago. She was in a hospital for almost that length of time, about 8 months. She just got out in August. Okay? So let's give a round of applause.
I guess it's just the way I was sort of brought up. I never thought of cancer as like something so, like, I know it's a major thing, but since I've never gone through something like so big, I was like, oh well, I'm going through something big, but we got to make the best out of it.
She's come a long way. I mean, it's going to be still a long way to recovery, but she's doing really great. She's going to start school on Monday, and she's super excited.
We're here to support Brianna and the Lopez family, and we know that they've gone through a lot of things. We've had a few fundraisers for her in the past, and we just like to continue. She's very excited to come back, and we're excited to have her.
Thank you. To the Fort Lee community, to the police officers, to all my school. Be free! They helped me stay strong, and the fact that they knew that, I knew that they had my back. So, when I was feeling low, and just with the fact that they helped with money and donating a lot of stuff to my parents. So that would help pay bills because they weren't working. So that helped with that was a big help. That made them be able to be next to me and with me through this whole journey.
Thank you is just not enough. It's, sorry, it's just amazing what they have done for us. They're part of our family forever.
Former Giants defensive end Justin Tuck also came out in support of the Lopez family. Tuck is a Fort Lee resident and met Brianna for the first time at the race.
I'm just here to be a part of this community that wanted to give back to a little girl that obviously needs our help. One of the reasons why I love living in Fort Lee, the people are so nice and they always really come to bat for each other, whether they know them or not.
A lot of other people think of it as oh, you're sick, you can't do this, you can't do that, you gotta prove them wrong and do it.
And you did?
Yeah.
All right, Brianna, great job.
It was a howling good time at the dog park on Stillwell Avenue as Fort Lee's four-legged friends and their owners paraded around in their Halloween costumes at the annual dog Parktacular.
We have a couple hundred dogs here today. It's called Paws in the Park. It's branded, the town knows about it now, and it's just something that everybody's looking forward to each year. They're getting the costumes ready. We even have the health department here doing a complimentary rabies clinic.
What's going on here is not much to do with Fort Lee government. What's going on here is the enthusiasm of a few people that came up with this idea a couple of years ago. Government supported it, but it's all their time and their effort. It's Randy and her many, many volunteers to put this together. And that's why I keep saying one of the best things that's happened to Fort Lee over the last few years is an enthusiasm level, where people are starting to want to do this kind of thing. It's getting contagious. It's a lot of fun.
This is the second annual Paws in the Park event, but it's Daisy's first Halloween party. Daisy is Fort Lee's first dog. Daisy was one of the dogs rescued from a van outside the Just Pup store in Paramus earlier this year. After interviewing the winner of the best costume here at the Paws in the Park event, we discovered that this one-year-old Maltese was also locked in that same van and later adopted by a woman from Wayne.
How great that we all get to join around in a community and celebrate truly our other family members, and have a fun time. It's great. And you meet other crazy, kooky dog lovers like yourself.
And this is one lucky pup then.
Yeah, I think so, and I think I'm more lucky. Malibu, can I have a kiss? I love her. Mwah.
We had vendors, we had just a lot of local dogs, and the word was out. We had our costume parade, even our red carpet. It came, Tom Cruise walked down the red carpet at Times Square, and that's the red carpet we use today.
I think this is a great park, and definitely will come back next year. The town has done a wonderful job in promoting this, and there are so many dogs and people that you can see everybody's having a great time.
That's our show for this month. Thanks for joining us again, and we'll see you next time.